heel. Good heel. Sit. Good, Buddy. Well, hello. Here we are with Buddy at Animal Training Development Center. And today is day 9 of Buddy's 10-day board and train program with us. And she has been doing just a phenomenal job, especially given her age. And yes, Buddy is a girl. And so I had a buddy that was a great dog years ago who was a boy, Buddy. So I'm trying to make sure I get this right. So when we are training a young dog like Buddy, she's only 7 months old, we have to, keep in mind that they still have a very young attention span, and so they aren't going to be able to hold commands quite as long or as well as a dog that's a little older. But down. She's been doing a super good job learning all the command words and even working through distraction levels that are getting higher, much higher than a lot of dogs her age would be able to do. So I really think she's gifted when it comes to intelligence, and she's just a very smart dog. That doesn't always mean that they're going to stay easy to train, because they sometimes will use their intelligence against us, but as long as you're connecting with her and you're communicating clearly with her and you're doing some of the things we're going to show you in the video, I think that you guys are going to really have a great team kind of a thing that you're going to enjoy for the rest of her life. So the commands that we've been working with is, the first one is the unspoken command. We just say it's unspoken because I always want a dog just to kind of remember and to always just do, even if I don't give a word to it. If I start to walk away, Buddy starts to follow me. If I stop, Buddy stops. If I go again, Buddy starts to follow me. And so this is what we call the unspoken command. The idea again here is that she doesn't get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. And right there, she starts to stretch out just a little too far. My job is to make sure she does her job. And in order to do that, I have to be paying attention to her. And if she's not up right before I reach the end, I give that little tug toward me. If she goes too far ahead of me, I tug a little bit back. If she goes to the right, I tug to the left. And of course, if she goes to the left, I'll tug to the right. And we're just doing that right before she would reach the end of the leash. So like right about now is when I'll do that. And so this is how we communicate to her that, this is the way that it's supposed to be. You never get to the end of the leash at any time for any reason. And a tip I'll give you is, when you first get her back, I highly recommend you do what we call the umbilical cord method. And the umbilical cord method basically is the idea that you're going to keep her on a leash for the first couple of days that she comes back into your home. And even when you're, awake and active, of course, you can take the leash off at night or when you're, not able to pay attention to her. We don't want her to chew leashes up, and at her age, she'll probably do a little of that teething on it if you leave it laying around. But if I'm awake and active, I'm going to keep her with me, and I'm going to keep the leash in my hands everywhere I go. So if I got to go get something out of the refrigerator, there, good girl. Let's say the refrigerator's back here. I'm going to take her with me, and I'm just going to make sure as I go back there that the leash stays loose. If not, I'll make that tug. If I have to go back into the living room and maybe even sit down myself, I should be able to do that. Maybe I'm going to watch a little bit of TV. But the idea is that you do the umbilical cord method with her about 45 minutes at a time, maybe twice a day. Each of you do one time a day with her. That would be ideal. So for 45 minutes each day for the next 10 days, my best advice for you is just to go ahead and put her on leash. And when you're awake and active and around the house, just take her from place to place with you and making sure that she's getting that message. Good girl. Good girl. Now, we're not using treats for this part, but there's nothing wrong with having some treats. I've got some with me, and we've been using these freeze-dried liver treats, and she likes these a lot. What I'm using these for is mostly for teaching her to come when called. So if you're going to call her, Buddy, sit. We're using that word come. Good. And real important, guys, as you go to give that treat to her, when she sits, we give her that treat, go ahead and with your free hand, touch her collar. So the key is that, when she comes to get that treat, as I give that treat, I want to make sure I grab her collar with my free hand, because what dogs tend to do is you try to reach for them when they're off leash and they take off on you. So what we're trying to do is get her used to the idea that I'm going to reach for her collar. Come. Good. So again, making her sit. Good girl. Touching that collar as I give that treat. And you don't have to do a lot of that, but you want to do a lot of that when you first get her. So again, for those first 10 days that people get their dog back from our board and train program, it's really important for people to try to keep the momentum going that we've worked so hard to get going with her. And she's really smart and doing really well, but I would highly recommend this umbilical cord method for the next 10 days after you guys get her back. So the next thing we talked about, of course, is this idea of sit when told. Buddy, sit. The idea with the command sit is she should keep sitting until I tell her to stop sitting, or I tell her to do something else. Like I could tell her, buddy, come. And of course she can stop sitting to come over and sit in front of me. Good girl, good girl. So the sit command, we've been practicing making her understand that sit means sit no matter what happens while they're sitting. And we always want to build the dog's ability to sit through higher and higher levels of distraction. So an example of that is I've got this ball here, and as I bounce it, she should keep sitting. No, sit. Good. No, sit. Good. No, sit. No, sit. Good. And now I'm going to give her the release word. Okay. Good girl. And so it's a fun game, kind of. She got the ball in the end, and they always do. We drop treats in front of them the same way. I'll do that next. But the idea is that they're supposed to keep sitting until I give them the release word. Her release word that tells her she can stop sitting is simply okay. Just telling her, okay, you can stop sitting. Good girl, buddy. Next, I'll show you the same idea with some treats. So we'll get a couple of treats out of my pocket here. Buddy, sit. Good girl. And I'm going to drop this treat, but as I do, I'm ready. If she goes to get up, I'm going to tug up and slightly behind her head just to try to pivot her into that sit position. So as I drop this treat, good girl. Nope. Sit. Another one. Good. Maybe one more. Good girl, buddy. Okay, good girl. So there again, the dog starts to learn that I am going to get these things that he's asking me to work for, but I can't get them just by going after them. I have to wait until he tells me it's okay to get them. And this will really help her start to see you as more the pack leader and somebody that she should listen to in other areas of life. And I know that you guys, live out in the country, and she's kind of going to be a farm dog out there with a little bit of property. But when you have a dog like that, there's an awful lot of things, that can distract them and get their attention. As well as I do, there's going to be deer, and there's going to be other critters, raccoons and whatnot that she may want to chase after. And she does have a very strong protective instinct that's already developing. So I can tell you, she's going to be the typical German Shepherd that you think about, that's going to be very protective of your property, and she's going to be very vocal when she sees things that she doesn't recognize, and she may take action if you're not a strong leader and you haven't done your homework getting her ready for all that. So these instincts are just new to her. She's just starting to get them. I've seen it 1,000 times over the years with different dogs. It's just a young dog now just starting to feel those instincts kick in. And so just be aware that as she gets outside and she starts to react to her environment, she's likely going to be very passionate about that. And you're maybe going to need a little bit more help from me as that happens. And I'm more than happy to set up sessions where I can come out to your house and work with you there. So there's things that we can do to help. So the next thing we taught her was this idea of place. Buddy, place. Place just has one rule. She can do whatever she wants on this thing. She just can't get off of it. So if she wants to lay down right now, she can lay down. There she goes. If she wants to stand back up and turn around, she can do that. If she wants to get up and sit on it, she can do that. She just can't get off of it. And this is a really good one for anybody. And in fact, anybody I've ever met that I've shown this to, if they take the time to do it, they're always glad they took that time, because it really does come in handy down the road. You can use anything you want. I like a little raised item like this is. This little cot is off the ground, maybe 4 inches, and that just makes it really clear to them, when they get off of it. So if she were to step off this right now, she would definitely get that sense that she's stepping off of it, where if you have a flat item and beach towel, people sometimes use yoga mats. All those are fine, but it's a little harder for them to know when they're getting off of it. They don't get that that experience as easily, but they can be taught. So these are pretty inexpensive. You can find them on Amazon. I think they're like $45 or something like that, and you can get her one of these cots, or you can do what we're doing here to teach her to do it on a new item that you may have around the house already, like a dog bed or something like that. But we use the word place because it just means that she's supposed to stay on her place until we tell her that she can stop by giving the release word. I can give that right now, or I can call her and she can get off of that in order to come to me, of course. So let's try that one. Buddy, come. Good girl. Sit. Good. And the come is never finished until they come and sit. And then I'm always going to make a habit of touching her collar as I give her that treat. And again, this is so important because it's going to help her later. That one time you have to really reach to grab her, she won't think twice about it. Okay, buddy. Good girl. Next, I'm going to show you the heel command. What you call here, buddy, I think is what you asked us to do for you there. So when I say here, buddy, that means that she should stay at my left side every step of the way, and she should focus on me every step of the way. So this isn't regular walk. This is like the heel command where we're asking her to stay really at our heel, if you think about it. And this is how you get from point A to point B when there's a lot of distractions or if there's danger crossing roads, things of that nature. Good. She's supposed to stay in that position and focus on you every step of the way until you stop and she sits. When you stop at the end of the heel, she should sit. Heel, if she doesn't stop at the end of the heel, when you stop and she doesn't sit, you would just tug her, no, sit, like that, and make her do it. You're going to have to practice that a little bit, but it takes a little practice to get good at, but it's worth all the practice it takes. This is, I think, the most important command that we train any dog to do. So I'd like for each of you to practice 15 minutes a day practicing these obedience commands, the sit, the heel, and then the down. So when we tell her down, I'm just putting my hand out over her head, and there goes. Good girl, lays down. So she should stay in that down position now until I give the release word or until I tell her to do something else. So in this case, I can just say, okay, buddy, good girl. And of course, she can get up when I give that release word, okay. And so practice that. And just like with the sit position, we want to start to practice some distractions. So we'll try this one. Buddy, down. No, down. Good girl. So let's get that ball back out and see if she can hold the down position as I bounce this in front of her. Good girl. No. She gets up, just use your foot and step down. Good. No. Down. We haven't done this from the down position before. This is a little bit harder. No. Down. Good. No. Down. Kind of glad she's doing that so I can show you what to do. This time I'm going to give her the release word. Okay. Good girl. And of course she can stop laying down and get the ball with that. So, she's a young dog, and like I said, that just means that she's not going to have the attention span of an adult dog, and she's going to be easier distracted than an adult dog. You got to realize in her world, all this stuff is kind of new to her. She's like a kid in a candy store, and everything's exciting. We've been taking a lot of walks with her, and so we're taking through a lot of different kinds of distractions at parks, and she's seen joggers now and people walking their dogs and people just walking themselves. She's seen a lot of traffic out here. She used to bark at the cars as they went by, but she's gotten a lot better about that. And so, this is just your chance to, continue to coach her, I call it, because, you got to kind of, coach a kid when they're young. What do you do when you get to intersections? What do you do, to get to school, and how do you act when you're there? And it's the same thing for her. How do you act when we travel in the car, and how do you act when we go to the park, and how do you act when we go to the pet store? And so I would invite you guys to continue to practice, working with her around the house first. Get yourself comfortable with these different commands, get yourself comfortable with the different techniques to reinforce the commands. Of course, you've got this video that you can watch over and over again that will help. Make sure you've got the right tools. And for Buddy, we've decided on some different style tools, and I'm going to show you more about that in person, when you come to pick her up. But basically, we're recognizing that she needs a prong collar, a prong style collar, which she's wearing now. It kind of matches her coat, so you probably can't see it, but we'll show you what that looks like, how it works, and how to use it. And then she's also wearing a remote collar. So I've got this little handheld button that I've been conditioning her to. And she's got a little collar that she wears around her neck. Again, it's very small. You may not notice it in the video very much, but I'm utilizing this to help with a variety of things. She used to, be pretty bad about jumping up on people, and she's gotten a lot better utilizing it. She was very protective over the water bowl. So when other dogs would get near her, she was really acting out aggressively at the water bowl. But we fixed that, again, utilizing the remote collar. For a dog that's going to be, out on some property, and especially given the idea there may be surrounding roads and stuff like that, I highly recommend, either an underground fence system, which would be ideal. And if not that, definitely invest in a remote training collar like this so that you can reinforce some boundaries with her around your property. And again, guys, I'm here to help you. I want to see her live a happy, long life for you guys. And so, she's very young, and as she grows, if you determine you need some more help, please don't hesitate to reach out, and we'll be right there to help you. So again, thanks for this time that you've let us have her. She's really been a pleasure. She's completely house trained at our house now, so we haven't used any of the pads that you gave, and I don't know that she'll really need them when she comes back home, maybe for the first day or so. But I would suggest that if you want to get her just going outside, this is the time to do it. She's old enough that she can hold it longer, and she's been sleeping through the nights really well at my house, and not having any accidents after the third day, and so she's really done well with that. So we're going to splice this video together with a little bit of our field trip time and a little bit of her play time, and I hope that you've enjoyed the video. And if anytime you have any question, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're just a phone call or a text message away. I don't know what she hears, maybe something outside that I don't hear, but there again, there's that protective instinct starting to creep in. There must be somebody walking around the building or something. I like the protective instinct, but we want to coach that. So we don't want a dog to just start acting out on every little noise, and we don't want a dog to start to act out inappropriately, toward your chickens or stuff like that. But we like the idea that a dog is going to be watching out for our stuff and watching out for us. So I just want to coach those instincts as they come up, and they'll be coming up. You like to look and see what it is. If it's something worthy of doing that with, then we praise the dog and tell her what a good dog she is and pet her. If it's not something that she should bark at, we can give her a command word. I like the word enough. If she stops, we praise her. If she doesn't stop, then we can use our remote button or what have you to help coach her into stopping when she gets too vocal. So again, that's a lot of stuff, but it's a lot of stuff that we've done in just 10 days. She's done really great. It's a pretty intense 10 days. Whenever a dog comes to live with me, there's a lot to learn in those 10 days, and she's done a really good job. I'm really proud of her, and I hope that you are too. And we will look forward to seeing you guys get to see her again tomorrow. So enjoy your pup, and happy training.